Yeah.
What's that?
You know the man in the striped shirt was the top place? Right there. We got it right there in the striped shirt. Darwin Peterson.
This hasn't
Yeah.
just based on how much property and they have
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, it has.
That's the number, that's the other number.
Alrighty, under new business, we need to discuss the addition of on-street parking spaces specifically for persons with disability on Sumner Avenue. Aaron?
We had discussed this in a previous meeting, actually the last drainage district meeting, about the senior center, and it had come up about, there was another concern that was mentioned about handicap spaces next to the downtown district, and the fact that they're on the side streets, and the gentleman had expressed a concern that a handicap van can't come in and drop its ramp at those locations, and so it makes it difficult for them to.
I'm Richard Miller. I'm the one that made, on the side of where Dollar General is at. When you park your van there with a handicap ramp or a person in a wheelchair, it is so steep, the crown, a person has a hard time getting into it. And so I suggest we move them around in front of the buildings, in the same way over by the Whittlesey office area. I drop my ramp there, it hits, just about hits a curb. I have to back up in order to get somebody out of my van. I'd like to see them moved around into the front.
So we're just swapping places?
So we're just swapping
Yeah.
parking spots with
Yep.
handicap on the front?
Right.
Fine.
So the locations that were mentioned then would be Dollar General, Whittlesey, and you mentioned the Bootery at one point?
Now, there's one at the Blueberry, but that's not as bad. I
Okay,
mean,
so
let's
just
compare
those
the one
two
by Dollar General, such a crown going down.
Okay. So just those two locations. Do we need it?
Ordinance,
We'll need to
I
bring
think
that
that's
back
an
as a-
ordinance,
We didn't do an ordinance
parking places,
for summer.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
We'll need to bring that to the council, from the next council meeting, then we can bring it up for an ordinance. So,
Dollar
Thank you.
General and
Okay.
Livingston.
Thank you. Alrighty, next, discuss the installation of a stop sign at the Aquatic Center parking lot driveway.
This was the last meeting, so.
Right after that meeting, right after we had that, I went by there one day and I saw two people, a motorcycle and a car, run right out of there without stopping. So I don't know if we need to put a sign there, or we need to have the police down there directing traffic, write a few tickets. I don't know what's gonna be the answer.
Sit there all day.
People should know that they're supposed to stop when they're going into that travel portion of the road. It shouldn't be that difficult.
I think a sign would be more effective. It would always be there, and the policemen don't always be there.
I would agree with that.
And this isn't an actual road, it's just a driveway, so
Yeah,
this
but
is.
still,
It would,
it's a dangerous place for kids and people to walk, because I was down there also, and they sailed through there.
yeah.
Yeah, these people that I saw, they didn't even stop, so I don't know if the stop sign will work or not.
Yeah.
But we might as well do something.
I'm sure. I'm just saying that it doesn't actually take a change of ordinance or anything
No,
like that.
just a motion.
Yeah.
So make a motion, we do it.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, discuss a social hosting ordinance. We talked about that today at the LEC.
The council heard a request for social hosting ordinance at the last meeting, and just wanted to review the sample ordinance. We had discussed this probably about a year ago, and I think Joe, you had expressed concerns about this, and the ramifications, and so I didn't want to go through the effort of getting a draft ordinance together until the council kind of.
Don't we
gave some
already
direction.
have laws against this?
Not-
I mean, isn't it illegal for a home residence to serve minors alcohol at their residence?
Not really, no.
Not if it's your family member.
No.
Yeah, but it's not illegal in this either, if it's your family member, unless they go out
No.
No,
and take it out on the street.
no, it just makes it illegal. It just makes a property owner
What's-
responsible.
What's the reaction at the LEC? Is there,
Actually, the supervisors are considering it.
but do we
No.
know what
There-
Dean thinks?
Wouldn't they be
or-
responsible anyway if it's in your home?
But this is, what this basically says is that if, let's say you're out on farm property or something, you know, and the owner is then responsible, so the owner may not be so tempted to let the kids out there and do it. You know, cause then he's gonna be responsible as opposed to the kids just getting in trouble.
And what about when the owner doesn't know?
He's still in trouble.
Well, I see
Then it becomes the owner's responsibility to know that anyway, I guess, but,
well, then that just is gonna set us up for a whole new thing, because the senior party, the senior class had a party out on my dad's farm, 3 or 4 years ago. And there was gates up and everything else, and that they didn't, you know, so now you're making somebody responsible for something that they may or may not even know about, so I don't know if this is such a good idea or not.
I'd like to, I mean,
that's the only reason it's here, just, you know, and it wouldn't even, it would not have come out, and something, Sheriff, we
And I
talked about
might
this
add, there was
today.
not a ticket wrote by the sheriff's department or anybody, nobody was held accountable for that. And we had broken windows, we had broken doors, we had sheds broken into, they were having bonfires out there, and not a ticket was written. So, and then you're gonna offload all the responsibility on the owner, plus the repairs that he has to make for the damage that they do. I don't think I'll vote for that.
Dean wasn't, Sheriff Dean was not as aware of the problem as what the lady that was at the meeting from Family Services talked about. He said, you know, they don't hear much about this anymore, so much between the texting and games and stuff that the kids do, it's not as, you know, as I grew up, a lot of us, you know, OK Tire was a place you hung out at, Bicknell Place was a place you hung out at, you know, everybody parked their cars there, everybody kind of, you know, congregated there and decided where to go. You don't do that anymore, because you just get on your phone and either call somebody or text somebody, and that's where everybody goes, so you don't see the crowds, and that's what Dean said, if there's parties going on, they don't know about it, because the kids just talk about themselves, and they don't congregate, and the cars all head one place anyway, so. Dean was not aware of the problem as much as what it was led to believe, you know, or what they told us and stuff, anyway, I guess that was my understanding, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, if there is a problem, like I say, the sheriff was not fully aware of it.
but he's not seeing a lot of drunk kids crashing cars. He's not
Not
getting
according to Dean.
kids kicked out of school because they're bringing alcohol into school. I mean,
My-
I guess my concern is that this is a poll that a lot of the kids probably take as a joke. And that's kind of the reaction that I've gotten from some kids is,
You know what,
and I don't wanna say, you know.
in defense of that, you know, my son's in high school.
Mhm.
Does talk about at parties how much drinking goes on, which my son doesn't drink, thank goodness, but he does talk about that. You know, it's more, I guess, than I thought it was from what he talked about. You know, so it's, you know, whether it's a problem or not, I guess all this is, and we have to do nothing about it as far as that goes. It's just a way, if there's a problem or something, it's just another way to curb the problem. We have to do nothing, it's just simply up for discussion, if nobody else do anything about it, it just stops. But, you know, and we don't have to do anything, you know, ever, but the county is considering it, you know, and that's one of the things they talked about today, that's something that's, may or may not come up, but they are considering it. And it's, I guess if they do it, then I guess we could take a harder look at it then, or whatever, but that's just, like I say, it's strictly information for us to think about, is what it is right now. So,
I'm not gonna let any minors drink at my house, so this isn't even gonna apply to me. But as far as making somebody responsible that may not even know about what's going on, I mean, there's gotta be some kind of, something done there.
but it does make it responsible for those that do know what's going on.
Yeah.
But
And that's the
even,
problem.
it even raises the question though, you know, about, my kids are all grown, but if I was a parent and I had two 18-year-old kids or 18-year-old kids and friends or whatever, and I'm gone for the weekend, and they have a party at my house, and I come home and somebody gets hurt or somebody gets tickets or whatever it is, I'm responsible for what went on in my house when I was gone, not knowing a thing about it. I just, not that it's ever gonna happen to me,
Yeah.
but I hate to see it happen to somebody else that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I asked the law enforcement question, because if Dean was in here pushing for this, it would have a lot more sway with me.
Yeah.
I mean, and if he hears this and wants to come in and say, you know, we really need this is really a crisis in Humboldt, then I'm much more willing to back it up, but, you know, I haven't seen the evidence yet.
Okay, that's fine, and we can, you know, like I say, we're just strictly on here for discussion, you know, after the lady was here, we said we'd talk about it. everyone's comfortable leaving it alone, then we'll just leave it alone for now, and
And if after saying that, I get stopped 50 times on the street and people say, you don't know what's going on, you got your head in the sand, then I'll come back and say, I did have my head in the sand, I didn't know what was going on.
Absolutely.
And it, just
But a
the,
lot of this boils down to people just knowing what's going on and reporting it. I mean,
the,
some of these kids could be standing up and reporting some of this stuff too. They could text Dean,
Well, and
they can
that,
text each other, the kids that aren't doing it, that are concerned about it, could text just as easily.
a lot of this self-defense mechanism is in the school rule book. That if you're at a party where there's alcohol and you don't want to be suspended because of it, if you self-report, you know,
Yeah.
it will at least reduce the suspension. So, you know, and I don't know, it'd be interesting to find out if that's happening a lot. I don't, haven't gotten a lot of feedback, I guess.
okay, we'll just leave it alone for now. All right, next we need a motion to approve an extended outdoor service privilege for Sit and Bull Downtown Sounds, July 5th.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next we're gonna do, we'll do the next two, we'll do a motion to approve an extended outdoor service privilege for Frank's Naughty Pine and for Rustic's Restaurant and Reception.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, neither of those is for just the downtown.
That's all for downtown sounds,
Oh,
and there's a
okay.
map in your packets
Okay,
that showed,
all for
it's the
downtown.
same setup they
Okay.
usually have where the band is
No-
by
no false.
Fairway.
Okay,
And that block is the block that's closed off.
okay. And we need a motion to approve a street closure request for the Sesquicentennial Committee for a portion of First Avenue North near Bicknell Park for Sunday, July 8th.
the closure is for the activities surrounding the Cowboy Church on Sunday, July 8th. Is it July 7th?
Fourth is Thursday.
Seventh.
Yeah, so July
Sorry.
7th.
July
I'm
7th.
sitting there, I'm like, pretty sure it's 7th.
Correction to the 7th then.
Yep.
Move to approve. Second.
Second.
Good.
All in favor?
Great minds.
Aye.
Opposed. Under resolution, a motion to approve the following proposed resolution number 2013-64. A resolution approving pay estimate number 12 from Industrial Process Technology Incorporated of Fargo, North Dakota, in the amount of $661,052.54 for the 2012 Humboldt Water Treatment Plant Improvement Project.
The water plant continues to progress slightly behind schedule. The well side is performing as expected. The production is still tight when compared with demand, but is providing more room for error than the spring side of the plant. IPT has started working on the addition to the old water plant and is continuing to complete the renovations on the process equipment on the well side of the plant. One thing I would add, it was in the notes, but we did have a leak at the pool that did drive demand way up, and we were still well within, it was draining the pool, but it was in a situation where it was draining the water tower, but it was still a situation that was very manageable. We could have shut down the pool, worst case scenario, but
Did we get that leak fixed?
a large portion of it
Okay.
is fixed. We've had a leak, and we're finding out more that actually most of the pools in the area, from talking with ACO, have leaks. It's just to varying degrees on how much water they're losing. Because you have a constant, fluctuation in the amount that's evaporating out of the pool, which is a good amount, and then you're backwashing a decent amount of water to keep everything clean.
We were running 90,000 gallons a day.
But we were up to 90,000,
The water tower was dropping, is what the problem was.
so
We couldn't keep up.
What kind of a leak was it?
it's
Large.
It's a large. It's the geysers in the kiddie section. We've had a leak on that line 2 years ago, and now that line is leaking again. This time it's actually under the deck though. It's not in the grass section, so we can't repair it. So we just had to valve off those, and we still have a water loss that's up around, I believe, 40,000, 50,000, which you know, you can account for probably about 5 of that is just evaporation and backwash. 5 to 10 of that is evaporation and backwash. But it is that is a sizable chunk, so they're systematically going through each feature, trying to figure out if it drops the water usage pretty substantially or not. So they're working to try and isolate it. It's a little bit more difficult in a pool than it is in a water system. It's not as easy to track them, especially all the lines are under concrete. You know, the last time we had to track a leak, it was we had to bring in a scuba diver to put dye into the tanks, into the confined tanks, to figure out where it was going and how it was moving through the system. We got that one sealed off right before the season started, but clearly we're still losing water in there. It is much better right now than it was as of 3 days ago. So hopefully we can get it down a little bit more, so to get it more under control. But just there's a lot of strain on the water plant right now, and we're not up to 24-hour run times, but there are significant run times.
How close are we to filling the new tower?
Not very close.
Still waiting on
The controls.
electronics?
Mid-American still has to put the transformer in. And then you've got the fill time, the amount of water that the water plant can actually devote towards the water tower. And that's a difficult situation where that's probably gonna be a week to a week and a half project getting that filled up. Not to mention pushing water through all the way to the north side is a little bit harder than pushing it right up the hill in Sumner. So the amount of flow that you can get to that water tower is a little less. So there'll be some struggles. They've got it painted. They've got to do a test, a back T test to get it verified. And
I
then,
just wondered about leaving this here for now. Is that okay?
That's fine, Rick. Yep, then people can see it and then come and eyeball it. So, thank you, Rick.
so, yeah, I would say we're still a ways out. We're doing everything we can. We're actually doing a temporary fix kind of with the water tower to allow us to drop the existing water tower and just use the new tower so that we can do some of the work that we need to do on the existing towers, valves, and pipe in the ground around there to get that up to date. So what'll happen is the pressure gauge will actually read the system pressure, but we'll use that to track how high the new tower is, using the old system to still track the height of the new tower. So that way we can get the work done on the existing tower, put the new tower into service, and start getting a little closer, because CB&I doesn't really want to stick around too much longer waiting around for this. So they want to get whatever work they need to get done at the existing tower taken care of. So
Of course, we have problems at the old tower now, because with we've had spikes in the electricity here lately, and we've had some surges. Saturday, we took out the transformer again up there from the church and stuff anyway, which